Oh, goodness gracious. Have we been going for 5 months now? Whoa. Look at this. That's a whole lot of people. Resubbing for 5 months in a row. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for the hype train and for all the and for all the subs and resubs. Specifically. Thank you for the 4 months, Mikkel. 2 months from Angel Kalina. 4 from Enkimana. 5 from Midnight Skyas. And Ramdom, a 1. Stream time, indeed. 5 from Probable Futures. 5 months from Lizzie T. Pow. Free T-shirt club supports Chaos Carry. 5 from Brave Othello. 5 from IR Max for real. 5 from Ashton. Hey, Ashton. 5 from... Hang on. 5 from... Namtams. And 5 from Alchemist 80. But then... Hang on. Thank you very much, Scothgraw, for those gift subs. It's very kind of you. Enjoy the emotes, everyone. And also...
Thanks, pal.
There it is. Thank you very much to Chaos Carry for the 5 gifted subs as well. It's very kind of you. Y'all are all too kind. Oh, thank you, Ramdom. I'm glad you enjoyed the Best Animation of 2022 video. Hey, Sonic did too. If anybody hasn't seen it pop up in their feeds yet, I finally got a new Frame Plus video out today. It's the roundup of all the 2022 games that had great animation. And then, hello. Hold on. So many things are happening at once. Hello. Welcome, Stick Wyvern and friends. Welcome. We're just getting started here. We're gonna play some Fire Emblem Engage for a bit. If it's your first time here, hello, I'm Dan. I'm an animator. And usually we just play stuff for fun here, but sometimes we also do like animation and game design analysis and stuff like that. So we're gonna be diving into Fire Emblem Engage a little bit today, just to sort of wrong play it, check out its animation, wander around. But yeah, thanks for joining. Welcome. Also, people are being entirely too kind with the hype train, so if you'll excuse me, I'll have to get back to whatever nonsense they're up to. Thanks for the bits, Ramdom, and also, thank you. Thank you very much for the 5 gift subs as well. It's very kind of you. Thanks for subscribing, Kamikaze Monkeys, and also for the Pichu, Probable Futures. And the 4 months give me a username. Who's ready to watch Dan walking into walls for the next couple hours? That's right. All right. So yeah. So for those of you, thank you for kicking me off there. For those of you who don't know what a wrong play is, a wrong play is basically the term I've coined for the way that people who make games cannot help but play them. Because once you play games for a while, or make games for a while rather, it becomes really hard to not sort of see them analytically and see the craft of them. And so it often leads to you kind of playing the game weirdly to try to understand how something's working under the hood. And different disciplines will wrong play in different ways, and maybe there are some people who work in games who have managed to avoid this brain poison and can just go home and turn the brain off and actually enjoy a game for once. But for the rest of us, wrong play is the term I've come up with for what we're doing here. So we're going to enjoy some Fire Emblem Engage because I've not gotten to see any of it yet, and I'd like to see what it looks like and how it plays, see what sort of animation improvements they've brought over 3 houses, which from the look of the trailers seems to be quite a lot. But yeah, we'll also just try to get a look at how, like, maybe some things work under the hood and just make some very stupid gameplay choices to learn things. Like you do. Thank you for the Pichu there, Absolune. The last stream sent me all the way down the Hololive rabbit hole. Bales is Pichu's new Chaos Lord. You know what? That fits. That's a good fit. Hey, for those of you who are on, like, down the Holocure rabbit hole, a trailer has come out. There's a big update coming to the game on February 10th with a bunch of new playable characters and new stages and items and everything. Bunch of new everything. So if you've been playing Holocure, good news. And we will definitely stream some of that here. Lots to look forward to. Anyway, let's see. Fire Emblems tend to have pretty slow starts, so maybe it would be best for us to get started here because again, we're not doing a full playthrough of Emblem or Engage here. I'm just wanting to kind of get a look at it, and it's like I considered doing a one-off Wednesday episode for Playframe of Engage, but again, these things tend to start slow. I kind of figured even if I spent an entire hour in there, we might not get anywhere. So this seemed like the better way to do it, right? So, let's get ourselves queued up. So it's excited. Let's see if I can get game volume guessed correctly. Do we still have a new bit emote sounds? Do we have any new bit emote sounds? Yes, there are a couple new ones. That, well, not since, like, the last two that I added. There's more than Pichu and Zote. There are two more, which have gotten some play in the last several streams, but I've not added any more since then, if that's what you're asking. There's one of them. And here we are. Welcome to Fire Emblem Engage, everyone. So I'm really curious to get a look at this because for all of the cool things about Fire Emblem Three Houses, and there's a lot cool about it, the animation was pretty lackluster, actually. Like, but for as much, like, of a thrashing as Pokemon games get for the animation in them recently, the animation in Pokemon games is far stronger than what was in Fire Emblem Three Houses. Even though Three Houses still, like, great game. But what I've seen of this actually looks a lot stronger. So I'm very curious. And all this is going to be pre-rendered, of course, but a good preview of, like, what they're aiming for aesthetically, right? The voice acting did a lot of the work to cover the animation in Three Houses. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what, like, until the last decade or so, like, voice acting in games had to carry so much.
Engage.
And it did. Like, a lot of voice actors really did, like, pull a lot of the weight. An animated performance in a video game of, like, a character is sort of a collaboration between the vocal performance of the voice actor and the body performance that the animators and, like, mocap performers and such are bringing. And even when it's performance capture and the actor is kind of doing both things, the animator is still doing a lot of work with that mocap data. So, like, back in the days when, like, face animation really couldn't do a whole lot, like in the Xbox 360 days, and especially in the generation before, like the PS2 days, voice acting had to pull so much weight. And that's kind of the case with Fire Emblem Three Houses as well. And boy, what a great cast of voice actors. And great characters, too. Like, solid game. I'm not meaning to, like, dunk on Three Houses too much here. It's just the animation was quite lackluster. And it looks a lot better in trailers for this, so I'm very excited to see. What's my favorite Fire Emblem so far? Of the ones I've played, I really didn't get to put in nearly as much time into Three Houses as I wanted to, but Awakening was, like, my first one that I really got into, and I think it's still my favorite of the bunch. I started Fates, like, twice, and kept on losing interest partway through. And I'm not really sure why, because it was also quite fun. But yeah, I think Awakening's the one where I really, like, dove in deep. And I suspect I probably would have fallen in similarly deep on Three Houses if I just had the time to give it. I just unfortunately didn't. And I don't think I'm going to this time either. But I'm curious to see what they're doing. So, let's go ahead and... Oh, maybe we should check this, huh? That's not what options means. Copy, delete, change link. I guess these are kind of options. We'll go with it. Okay. What a weird thing to... We don't have to start the wrong play already, but I just like... When I go to an options menu, copy, delete, and change language are not the 3 options I expect to see. Anyway. Let's see. Pichu is still on the fence on Engage, so maybe this will let me know if I want it or not. So yeah, I don't know what to make of... I've not looked at enough trailers for Engage, I don't think, to really understand what it is bringing to the table, other than just sort of a different look and better animation. But let's all find out together, shall we? And let's select a form. Wild hair. I'm not sure I, like, in terms of just personal subjective taste, I'm not sure I love the character designs I've seen in Engage nearly as much as in the previous ones. Because this hair is a lot. Again, that totally subjective. This isn't a criticism. This is just, this hair is a lot. A big fan of calling it form rather than gender. Yeah, I like that too, actually. Here, let's go femme. And default. Allier works for me. Or Alliar. Whatever. Is this name okay? Yes. What should her birthday be? Should it be today, January 25th? Perfect. Wah. Buttons. Congratulations, Alliar. As of today, you exist. Let's see. Select a difficulty level. Normal for new and intermediate players. Hard for experienced players. And maddening for those who seek a true challenge. I like the shift away from having one, like 10 or more years ago, this would be what it was labeled in every game, which is easy, medium, hard, or like easy, normal, hard, right? I think just calling this normal, hard, and maddening is like a good way to reframe it. I like that. Let's go for normal, because I'm not incredible at this. And I feel like this would be a very wrong way to play, but maybe not an informative one. How's game volume, by the way? I think it's very quiet music right now, but it'll probably be easier to tell once we get into actual like play and characters are talking. But y'all let me know. I feel like permadeath doesn't fit what Fire Emblem is anymore. Weirdly. Not to say that you're wrong if you enjoy playing it that way, because it is a cool, high-stakes way to play. But it does feel like it kind of clashes with the very story and character-centric, like, character-centric storytelling stuff they do now. Yeah, we're going casual for that reason. Because otherwise I feel like, because building relationships with characters and getting to know them is such a huge part of the appeal of these games now. If you either like, if you play Classic and if you're playing Classic, you are basically accepting, I'm just going to have a whole lot of stories get cut off and I'm just never going to get to see those. Or you are committing yourself to save scumming to an annoying degree. Maybe I just won't do that, I think. Hey, thanks for the 5 months, Rob Raccoon and Ratstronomer. And welcome, also. Sure, online play's fine. The save scum is built in these days. Oh, I feel like I remember hearing about that there were some like actual features more in place for preventing characters from being like completely dead if you made mistakes, which is cool. I feel like that's a good addition to try to make the permadeath mode feel more like something worth playing with. Let's start the game. I've spent like 10 minutes rambling and we've not started the game.
Almost time.
Well, hi there. Okay, still pre-rendered.
We can handle this.
I'm pretty sure.
Keep them back!
We won't lose. Not today.
And yeah, full credit to the Fire Emblem series. Like, even since Awakening, like, their pre-rendered stuff looks quite cool.
Keep going! You can do this!
Gumball Princess is a bit of whiplash. Yeah, I agree. That's kind of what I was, like, saying with my
Our final battle lies ahead.
opinion of the character designs in this. It feels very... It doesn't feel entirely cohesive from what I've seen, but I've not seen a lot yet, so...
It's time to engage.
We're going to find out together. Here we are.
Let's go. One last battle and the war will be over. The others fought hard to clear a path for us. We can't let them down.
I really appreciate voice acting being here, because I've been playing a lot of games lately that don't have it, and boy, my voice has gotten worn out a lot, so really appreciating Fire Emblem on this one.
You're here at your end. This place will be your tomb.
Rout the enemy. Here we are.
I'll remain by your side.
Okay. Moving units. To move, select your unit with A, then select where to move with L. The blue spaces indicate your unit's range of movement. Press A again to confirm your unit's destination. All right. So. Whoop, 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 whoop. Slippery. And we move and confirm. After you move a unit, you will see a list of commands. If you do not want to take an action, just select wait. All right.
You have no hope of defeating me, not even with your emblem.
Once all your units have taken action, the player phase ends and the enemy phase begins. Once both phases are completed, the turn ends, the next turn begins with a new player phase.
He's within reach now. We can strike.
All right. To attack, move your unit close to an enemy and select attack. You can also begin an attack with A if you move your cursor over an enemy and see A to attack. All right. In which case, I'm guessing you're... Well... So, okay, so I can move next to an enemy and attack. If I highlight them and see A to attack, does that mean I can use, like, a ranged attack? Or is that a case where, like, my character will automatically move closer to them? I think I need to move closer regardless. Let's just do that.
To die here was ever your destiny. The rings are mine.
I feel like we're kind of getting banged up here, team.
It's time. Engage.
When the engage meter is full, select engage. Your unit will merge with a selected emblem and gain access to special engage weapons. Engaging also unlocks a set of special skills. The engage state lasts for 3 turns. Well, all right. We've got 10 health points. It seems like it's kind of now or never, huh?
Stay strong.
Engage.
The time has come.
Now, as one. Emblem, engage!
Nah.
Well, Zote's unimpressed, but still. Hello, visiting from the VODs.
We are now connected and can unleash a powerful attack.
Neat.
Together.
All right, engaged units can use powerful engage attacks. Engage attacks are abilities that your units can use once each time they engage. For example, Lodestar Rush deals heavy damage. To use this engage attack, select Lodestar Rush and a weapon. Okay. Lodestar Rush and, Liberation or Falcon. Or Falchion. I've never known how to say that. This seems slightly better, though. Let's go with it. I'm liking the little, like, portrait animation. And just having the character portraits on either side is quite cool. I like that. I don't remember if that was the thing that Three Houses did, but I like it. Yeah, they're definitely going way more extra on attack and combat animations and stuff. That's fun.
You are weakness.
Yeah!
Oh, it's a soft, like, shh sound. Falchion. Oh, that's way cooler sounding. We wind.
Thanks to you, this world is saved. And my work here is complete.
Shorter than I expected. Hey, before, while I have a moment, I almost missed it. Thank you very much for the 5 months, Moon Decay, and also Street Luck, and for 3 months, Dr. Scientist. I will keep up the engaging streams, or try.
Know that I will always be with you, and that we will stand together again, as we did this day. If ever we cross paths again, I hope you will remember me. Indeed,
See you next Smash Brothers,
that you will
buddy.
remember all of us who took up arms to fight by your side. The 12 emblems.
Ah. Saving.
Where am I?
Whoa. Tell me you're seeing this.
Hello there. And you are? You're awake! Huh? You're really awake, yeah?
You're the Divine Dragon!
This is a lot to lay on someone who just woke up.
No way! The Divine Dragon is finally awake!
Hey, hold on!
Like, let her have her coffee first.
What? Coffee?
I mean, you can have coffee too. For sure. Well, you're gonna have to go make some if you want it. But I don't have coffee. You have to go.
Calm down, you two. What's all of this ruckus about?
Okay. I will say though, the character animation in these scenes is already a good bit stronger than in Three Houses. Just much more expressive faces, more life in the eyes. A lot of it's still kind of in the pre-rendered stuff still, but like even just here, character faces just feel a lot less flat and lifeless.
Huh?
Divine Dragon. It's a miracle. An utter miracle. The Divine One awake at long last. That I might live to see you standing before me. What an honor.
Not to be rude, but who are you?
Ah, apologies. I lost myself for a moment there. My name is Vander. I am the 32nd Steward of the Dragon.
Hello, Sir Vander.
Oh, my Divine One. There is no need to address me as such. Simply Vander will do.
See? I told you the Divine Dragon was awake.
Yeah, we were telling the truth.
You two. I don't believe I got your names.
Oh, sorry. We were so excited we forgot to introduce ourselves. We're the 33rd Stewards of the Dragon. My name's Clan. Pleased to meet you.
And I'm Fram. We're twins. We've been waiting forever for you to wake up.
As stewards of the dragon, our mission is to protect and provide for you. Generation after generation of our predecessors waited for you to rise from your slumber. I'll admit, I am astonished to see it has finally happened.
You guys had this much time and you didn't, like, get any coffee or anything ready.
You see, 1,000 years have passed since the first steward took their post.
1,000 years? That's how long I've been asleep?
Indeed. Your mother, Lumera, the Divine Dragon Monarch, has long awaited this day. Finally, you, a Divine Dragon yourself, have awakened. This surely signifies great things.
Surely.
Oh, slow down. This monarch you mentioned, she's my mother?
You guys had 1,000 years to prepare, like, a nice PowerPoint for me as well. What have you guys been doing?
And I'm a divine dragon, you called it?
You didn't rehearse at all how you were going to explain this huge this plot dump you're going to drop on me?
Oh,
Workshop it a bit?
Is your memory hazy, Divine One?
I know my name, but that's about it.
And even that I'm a little fuzzy on, pronunciation-wise.
You can't remember anything else?
Maybe you're just feeling groggy because of all that sleep.
But I don't even know who I am.
Fret not. Such lapses in memory are to be expected after sleeping for so long. If I may, you are a divine dragon, a member of a royal family of dragons revered as deities. Queen Lumera, the divine dragon monarch, rules over the holy land of Lethos. In the war 1,000 years ago, she defeated and imprisoned the wicked, fell dragon. You, Divine One, are her only child.
The war? The fell dragon? Oh, I feel like I can almost remember, but...
Please, do not trouble yourself trying to bring it all back at once. Your memories will return in time. You are a being of immense power, a deity, no less. I have heard many a tale of your kindness, nobility, and bravery, your unflinching heroism.
That's a lot to live up to.
For now, let us head to Lethos Castle. Queen Lumera will be thrilled to see you. Perhaps the reunion will help stir your memories.
I hope so.
Okay then. Onward and downward.
To Lethos Castle!
It's interesting. It's ironically a much less narratively engaging start, I feel like,
All
than
this
most of
time,
these
I've been
kick off
sleeping
with.
in the sky?
Like, starting out with a scene, like a big battle scene, is in theory exciting, but you have no context for it and you don't know who anybody in it is except for the character you just picked and Marth if you're a fan of Fire Emblem, or in the West, more likely, Smash Brothers. So like you've got Marth to be excited about, and then you get introduced to a new mechanic, and they say engage a lot, and then you kind of have like a real stock standard isekai wake up sort of like amnesia story or important history 1,000 years, like very like this feels much less like usually narrative hooks are pretty strong aspect of more modern like Fire Emblem type stuff, and this is like, and this might well have them, it's just they're like a surprising lack of them in the opening minutes, it seems like.
You have, yes. The place where you slumbered is known as the Somniel, a fortress built upon an airborne island to ensure your safety. It is perhaps the most secure place in all of Elios. Only a select few can set foot there.
Oh, I see. And you three live there with me.
Yep. As stewards, we spend our time caring for you. And managing things around the Somniel. It's a sacred place, so we work as hard as we can to keep it shipshape.
Royal family members visit us all the time. Well, visit you, really. The Prince and Princess of Firene, a deeply religious country, visit especially often.
They pray next to you, like this. Then they just talk for a while, like they're chatting to a friend.
I see. Thanks for filling me in, Clan. You too, Clan.
I must, no coffee or snacks, I must say, I thought better of a kingdom. Perhaps next time these stewards will do better. I guess, for all the time they've had, this is still their first attempt, technically. Just a very long, prolonged first attempt. Next time, they'll have learned a lot. They'll do better.
The Divine One said our names and thanked us.
Please calm down. I just woke up after 1,000 years.
I think I'm going to faint. Unless I already did. Am I dreaming?
Need I remind you that you are in the presence of the Divine Dragon?
I remember. Oh, you're talking to them. Sorry.
How many times must I tell you to behave in a manner befitting your station? Divine One, please, forgive this embarrassing breach of decorum.
Breach of decorum? I'm actually enjoying their enthusiasm.
Also, sorry about your hair. They did that while you were asleep. They've already been reprimanded.
You're just as kind-hearted as I always imagined.
Oh, look! There it is!
Lithos Castle. The Divine Dragon Monarch is there, you said?
Yes. I suppose 1,000 years have passed since you
Wait,
went home.
so Twitter's been calling the main character Colgate John. Okay, that's pretty good.
Don't worry. We'll be right there with you.
You can hold my hand if you like.
Thank you. How long have I been wearing this ring? Since before I fell asleep?
I didn't think they were actually like doing literal wordplay with the engage thing, but then they have really enjoyed using the words emblem and engage a lot so far, so
That blue
I guess I
stone,
shouldn't be surprised.
It reminds me of something.
Thanks for the 4 months, by the way, the NK dude. I'm glad you have coffee. Someone should. Hello.
What are those horrible things?
Vander, are creatures like that common around here?
They're not. I've never seen them. Nor have I heard of such monsters appearing in Lithos before. This is a land of peace.
Understood. Well,
Shall we fight them? As you wish, Divine One. You whose bravery knows no equal.
no, let's run.
Huh?
We haven't the slightest idea who they are, and we don't know how they came to be here. Also, they worry me for some reason. So, we run.
Well, did the Divine Dragon really command me to retreat?
Okay, get to safety.
We'll keep them distracted for you.
What the? Come back! Come back this instant!
Also bad at following orders. How did y'all get this job?
Oh no!
This isn't looking good.
Clan, Fram!
Hold on! We shall come to you!
Review tutorials in the system menu. Okay. I do like my little pixel art character down there, though. That's a touch I liked in Three Houses as well. It's very cute.
Divine One, stay back. It's too dangerous.
Clan and Fram were trying to protect me.
You know, that's a fair question. Why did the two mages rush into melee range? That's a reasonable ask.
I take back what I said. This is no time to run. Please, let me fight.
All right, but stay on your guard.
I will.
Well, we've an enemy to rout.
What are these creatures doing in Lithos?
You're asking me?
We had best use the foliage to take cover.
Terrain provides various effects in battle. For example, it's harder to land a hit on a unit positioned in a thicket. Thickets also cost more movement for ground units to pass through. You can see terrain effects in the information section at the top left corner of the screen. Use terrain to your advantage. Let's do. All right.
I'll do my best.
So we'll get into position in a thicket and attack you. Yeah, more like slightly more dynamic camera stuff than I remember in Three Houses, so that's looking nice, and the combat animations are looking better as well. Yeah, like animation on the whole, a good deal stronger. Narratively, this is feeling way weaker than most like Fire Emblem stuff I've encountered, but like on the animation front, this is quite an improvement. It's very cool to see that. Units have various types such as Cavalry, Key Adept, and Mystical. Each type has different advantages. Check a unit's type on the stats screen. Cavalry units have the highest movement. Their high mobility allows them to cross the map quickly to land a first blow or aid an ally. So when do I get to turn into a dragon, is my question. I like that and maybe this is a thing that they've done for a while too, and I just don't remember. I like that your method of moving around the space is rather than you select the character and then you like move the cursor over to the place that you want them to move and then they move over. You've basically got your range of movement and you can just manually move the character in that space, and then when you feel ready to be there, you just click the button. Except now I've seemed to have stopped and I'm not sure why. That's interesting. Wait, now it's moving again. Whoa. I don't know why that happened. This is nice though, I like this. The new Mario plus Rabbids like handles things this way too, and maybe they handled them this way in the original one too. And I like it. It's a really good way to handle these sort of like tactical RPGs. Or in Fire Emblem's case, like chess that you can date. I don't think I'm gonna be able to attack that thing from here. Let's just work on this guy. Attack. Feels like this is performing a lot better than Three Houses did as well, despite being like a visual upgrade in a lot of ways. They've clearly figured out the hardware a bit since that last game. Did I see the new HoloCure channel and trailer for the update? I did. I'm very excited for there to be more HoloCure. Don't worry, we'll definitely do more HoloCure here once that update drops. Very looking forward to it. All right, teammates. Show what you can do.
Fram, are you all right?
Fram, it's not safe for you here. Retreat to the castle.
Or run away, that's fine too. They can do that. Hey, thanks for the 5 months, Shingraph, and also 4 months from Meomile. Thank you very much. I feel like there's some other folks back there further I missed that I should have thanked. Baha Bali, thank you for the 5 months. I missed you back there. And also, thanks for subscribing. Josh is rude. I appreciate it. Okay.
Find one. Please use a vulnerary if you are wounded.
A unit with 0 HP can no longer fight. Use items like vulneraries to restore HP. To use one, select the item's command. Okay. Maybe later if I feel like it. I'm gonna just stay right here, I think. Yeah, done.
This time, victory was mine.
Yeah, this animation's a lot stronger. In the spirit of a wrong play, have I deliberately failed a tutorial battle yet? I've not yet. I suppose I could. I could try to fail a tutorial battle. It would take a very long... The problem with doing that in a Fire Emblem game is that it then takes 10 or 15 minutes to then go back and do it right. That's okay.
Anything.
I too can hide in the bushes. You're not special.
I am the 32nd steward of the dragon.
I gotta protect Fram. You rotten monsters, don't scare me. Oh!
They should a little bit. You can be a little scared. You like that it shows the actual hits and counterattacks before you commit to an attack? Yeah, that is kind of nice, huh? Speaking of wrong play, how do you play a game wrong? Basically, you do. It's. I explained it a bit earlier, but like when you work in games, it's hard not to play games weird, like trying to see how they work under the hood. So we're probably going to do a little bit of playing the game kind of strangely in order to try to see how things are, like how the game was made a little bit better. Try to understand it. But a lot of this is pretty surface level right now, so we're not having to do anything too wild. And wait. Oh, wait, can I go again? No, it's just showing my movement, but the character's grayed out, so I can't move it. Okay, I gotcha. And wait.
Oh no!
I think we're about to be short
More enemies.
at least 1 or 2 twins.
They just keep coming. You're all trying to protect me. I should be protecting you. If only I could. Somehow.
You must remember.
Who said that? The ring.
Know that my strength can be yours.
I know that voice.
If ever we cross paths again, I hope you will remember me. Indeed, that you will remember all of us who took up arms to fight by your side.
I know this voice. Who's this actor?
Fire emblems.
Divine One? Divine One! You mustn't do this alone!
I mean, I'm recognizing a lot of...
Please.
Oh, it's Yuri Lowenthal, of course.
Help me.
Now I
Lend me
hear it.
strength in this fight.
Thank you.
Shine on, emblem of beginnings.
What a great voice. Yeah, no, this like story and dialogue so far are not great, but the actors are all doing like a great job with it. They are blameless. They're doing great.
I am known as Marth. Emblem Marth, to be clear.
Much clearer, thank you. Confusion solved. Yeah, the presentation, like visually, is a big boost up so far from Three Houses, but narratively, this is feeling a lot like fan fiction, and not just in the sort of like, hey, it's Fire Emblem characters, you know. It's just in the
Of course. It is good to see you.
just the quality of it in general too.
For your call.
It's kind of surprising.
Remember.
It may get stronger though. We're really early on. Like we've barely started.
Or is that an emblem of
We've not yet
virtue?
begun to properly Fire Emblem, I feel like.
Clan, Bram, get to safety now.
It is some good campy music though. Hey, thanks for the 5 months, Quasimodo.
With your help, Marth, we might just make it. Will you join us?
Of course. I will fight alongside you from here forward. Your ally until the very end.
A unit can fight alongside an emblem. This is called being synced. While synced, the unit has increased power to act and access to sync skills. All right. Whomst shall we test this on? Hold on. Emblem Marth strikes quickly and repeatedly, dominating foes with his nimble grace. The sync skill Perceptive makes it easier to avoid enemy counterattacks. The engaged weapon Rapier deals bonus damage against cavalry and armored enemies. The engaged skill Divine Speed adds an additional less powerful attack. And the engaged skill... This is a lot to drop on me in tutorial land. And Lodestar Rush is a powerful and blindingly fast flurry of blows. But okay, let's test this. So, let's try and engage. Attack. Oh, that's kind of cool. I like that you can engage and disengage. That makes sense. I'm again, really liking the portraits off to the side when you have a character selected and then the enemy gets pulled up when you're like about to fight them. But I do also love that like swapping between engage and disengage, you're changing your character's look, different posing. It's like good visual clarity and some fun animation flair as well. That's really nice. Is this a normal game system in these games? No, this is feeling a lot like the... You know how Pokemon games all have kind of like a gimmick thing like Dynamaxing or whatever? This feels like this particular Fire Emblem's gimmick. They all play like this kind of tactical RPG, and they're like all quite fun in that way, but this sort of weird... have an old Fire Emblem character Ghost whom you can like meld with. This is new. But okay, let's try doing that thing. And now we wait. Do I still have my buddy? Oh yeah, you are still here. Good for you. Way to still be involved, Vander.
Cannot afford to lose.
Okay. Let's
Here until the end.
try using some of those other fancy skills they talked about and see if I can remember. Yeah, Lodestar Rush, here we go. And is there any reason you'd want to use a standard weapon when you could use one of the fancier ones they offer you when you're paired up? Maybe eventually we'll find out.
Fate has brought us here.
But yeah, I like the visual spectacle they're adding to these sort of engage combination attacks as well. What I'm really curious to see is... So, well, we've barely gotten started here, but of the various characters you get pulled in, do all of them have a character whom they are, for lack of a better word, engaged with? Can you swap who is paired with who? And if yes, does that like change their look? Almost certainly not, because that combination, that sounds like an art scope nightmare. But you can swap. Wait, it changes their look too? Lordy, that's scary scope-wise and impressive. All right, let's get further into this, or try. Hide my horse in the bushes. It's harder to hit me that way. Hit him. There's a set number of looks, so half of them are just color palette swaps. All right, well, that's still, though, that's cool. Honestly, that's like having a unique look for every character being combined with every single Fire Emblem series Ghost would be kind of absurd. But like the alternative is not having them change at all. So like just doing color palette swaps, that's cool. Like that's a way to like, okay, here's a way where we can visually reflect whom you've combined while still keeping this manageable. That's smart. Using a regular sword probably makes it easier to chuck a Pokeball at it. Welcome back, Monkey Mayhem. You've not missed much.
saving us.
We merged with a ghost, and we defeated all the Heartless. And now you're caught up.
Yeah. And, sorry. This all happened because we ran ahead.
I'm the one who should apologize. You put yourselves in danger trying to protect me. It's such a relief you're both safe now.
Divine One, I hear more enemies approaching.
More? I thought we'd gotten them all.
Evidently not. These creatures, will there be no end to them?
Huh? There's more?
Yeah, animation in their pre-rendered stuff is, like,
And they
quite
got a
solid.
dragon?
I feel like Fire Emblem's found a pretty good 3D anime look, and they nailed it with Awakening. They cracked it a good while ago, and they've never been able to do it like in real time. But the pre-rendered look is quite nice.
At last,
Cameraman, come on,
you are awake.
wake up.
Is it really you? Yes, it's me. Thank you for saving us.
What a morning I'm having.
What a joy it is to see you. Huh? I've waited for so long. Oh.
I am not at all surprised. Like, so they probably do this sort of thing where they do like sort of a like visual novel portrait for various scenes pretty frequently rather than a scene. And I'm not entirely surprised because hugs are actually quite complicated from an animation perspective. They're challenging because like anytime you have like two character models like embracing, that's really tricky in 3D because these character models are not solid physical objects. They are holograms basically. So trying to like animate like two masses pressing up against each other like that is really complicated because you have to fit, like you have to manually try to make like all this, just like the way that like the body and the arms and everything sort of like deforms as you embrace, and like the clothing and all that sort of stuff. Like that's really complicated and hard to do. So it's not at all surprising to me that when they were like, we really want like the mom character to hug the player character who might be one of two different models, by the way, they decided, can we just do a portrait, please? And make this easier? But this is also like, it's all the more hard if there's any variation whatsoever in like who those characters are or how tall they might be. If you had more character customization in here, like if you could have had a shorter player character, then getting an animated hug working between any other character in the game and your character would be a nightmare. But that's a thing you can look for. Like when you see in games like this, when you see characters actually like embrace and have physical contact, that's either a sign that they've got some pretty impressive tech going on there, or that it is a moment that the game's creators and animation team deemed important enough to put that time in on. So like in Final Fantasy XIV, there is a even in like a Realm Reborn patches, there is a scene where you get two characters hugging and embracing, like a woman being reunited with her mother figure, and they actually like have it animated custom in an MMO where they don't do a lot of fancy animation treatment like that, which surprised me because like again that's pretty involved and a lot of extra work within their system. But it does mean that it was something that they deemed worth that effort, which is cool. Anyway.
When I sensed you had awoken, I flew here as fast as my wings would carry me. I hope you're not hurt.
I'm fine.
What a relief. You cannot understand how I've missed you, my dear child.
Oh, you're my mother.
What's the matter? Don't tell me.
Since awakening, the Divine One's memory is clouded.
I see.
I'm sorry.
The stuff I was talking about earlier
I'm
about characters
sure you weren't
interacting, that's also why you see in so many games when characters like hand each other something. So often you'll see that happen off camera, or they'll do a cheat or something. That is, you'd be amazed how hard that is to actually do and make look right.
No, I must apologize. I was so overcome with joy, I hugged you as hard as I could. I take this to mean you've forgotten everything. I suppose it's to be expected. 1,000 years is a very long time.
You'd think the people in charge of watching me all that time would have had that thought as well, Lumera. I'm glad someone did.
Vander explained that I've been sleeping since some war that happened back then.
Yes, you suffered a terrible wound. And because of that...
A wound? Well, I don't remember that. Or this world, or anything.
Don't fret, young one. I will speak to you of all you've forgotten. Regardless of what you remember, I'm simply glad to have you back, my dear child.
Still, this isn't the reunion you hoped for.
Oh, don't worry about me. It's solace enough just to hear that sweet voice of yours. And to gaze once more into your eyes. What lovely colors they are.
They are something. It's nice to know there are still interesting unsolved problems in animation. Oh, always. Technical ones. But I mean, like, okay, they're not unsolved problems. Like, all of these things I'm describing, these are all completely doable, solvable things. They're just very hard to do and time-consuming, and that means they're expensive. And especially in games when you've got 100 other challenging, potentially expensive, time-consuming things to do, you got to choose your battles. And so, like, going to all the effort to make characters handing each other something in one scene look super cool, as opposed to building out a lot more, like fleshing out a whole other feature or system of the game. It's pretty rare that you'd want to choose, like, oh, we're going to make handing over that, I don't know, loaf of bread in that one scene look super cool. Like, why would you? That would be a bad choice. It's the same reason in, like, other simpler games. Like, people complain about stuff like in Pokemon when, like, the characters just sort of, like, do that old PS2 locomotion thing where when a character's turning in place, they're basically, like, walking forward in place. I mean, even, like, Final Fantasy XIV still does that. Lots of games still do that when they're having to simplify. And yeah, it is, like, a little silly and not real looking, but it is a shorthand and a solution that is simple, that in order to make it look better would be an enormous investment. And like, I think you can make a pretty reasonable argument that, like, the gains from that investment in terms of visual quality are not as high as what you could get for that investment elsewhere. That sort of thing. So, I should read what's on screen. After battle, you can explore the map freely and converse with your allies. Keep an eye out for items on the ground. To finish exploring, either move to the exit or press plus to open the menu and select a part. Okay. Yeah, all right, now we're like free movement. This is what I'm very curious about. That hair movement is, so when you're moving, it's very long, weird hair to begin with. So I really sympathize with the animators on this one. Like, it's a design that looked really cool on paper, I bet. But in practicality is some very, very wild hair. But to their credit, they're doing some cool stuff here. Like, look at that cool, subtle movement in it. Like, it's all not moving as one piece. You can see some, like, slight fluctuation in there and warbling. Like, they're, like, almost cloth effect type stuff going on in there. I don't think they're doing, like, a lot of actual cloth sim or anything here. There's not, like, a lot of simulation. I think a lot of that's probably just a manually created layer over the rest of it. But it does look pretty cool. It helps to loosen it up. It also looks very clothy when running. Like, this looks bizarre. In part because I think it looks this way because I think the cape, you can see the cape underneath it is flaring out like that. That also doesn't look great. Like, the cape shouldn't flare out like that when I'm walking. They're probably doing it to make sure that the cape doesn't clip through legs and other stuff. But it looks really weird. And then because the hair's over that, the hair has to also do that, even though that's a ton of hair and it should be really heavy. And this is the sort of thing where I would normally say, like, all right, if you're having to make this on the Switch and this is the character you're going to be having to see the back of all the time, change the hair. Because there's no good way to solve this problem that doesn't look ridiculous. Darn it, they've done their best, to their credit. Again, look at all the cool little subtle, like, flaps and movement in that hair in there. Like, there's some really nice, like, as long as you're not looking at this weird, like, stiff board of, like, kind of just big clump of hair stuck out behind me artificially as I run. Like, if you ignore that part and just look at the, like, subtle movement kind of within that, that looks pretty cool and nice. But as a big, huge chunk behind the character, not great. How's the rest look, though? That's a perfectly fine, like, run, jog. The hair's a bit of an issue, but I do like what the, like... I like this character's run a lot more than the Three Houses one. Ooh, there's a little bit of lean into that turns as well. I like that. Like, it's subtle. A good subtle amount of it, but a nice little bit of, like, lean. You slightly see the character kind of, like... I found the wall. You can slightly see the character kind of, like, tilt a little bit. Sorry, I'm trying to get the... Can I invert this camera? This is making it way more nauseating for y'all, I'm sure. Camera. There we go. Okay, thank heck. Cool, okay. Like the very slight, like the leaning into the turn a little bit, just angling, is really nice. There are some games that probably like over exaggerate that lean a little too much to where it's a little too wild. This is nice and subtle and I like it. It's almost hard to see it's there, but it is there and it looks nice. So what other stuff is around here? Hang on. Got some nuts. So some things have gone right for us today. Oh wow, characters just despawn at that distance, huh? Well, we're on a 6 going on 7-year-old console right now that was not the strongest when it came out. It's honestly kind of astonishing this game looks as nice as it does. And little, like, concessions like that is how they do it. Just make the characters who all have a lot of detail going on, just at a certain distance, just make them disappear. Really nice grass stuff, too. Liking the movement there. Yeah, the world in general is looking very pretty. I don't love the character design stuff, but the look of the world is quite gorgeous. Let's see how character interactions go. So they're sort of like eye tracking me a little bit and head tracking me just a little bit. Which is nice. Nice detail.
Amazing.
Oh, they're out of words. Okay. I was a bit worried, but we made it through. We're safe because of you, Divine One. Hey, what happened to that guy who popped out of your ring? I couldn't tell you. There's a lot I can't explain about today, Clan. There's a lot you apparently can't explain about today, Clan. Why are you asking me questions?
So great!
You looked so incredible on the battlefield. Of course you did. You're the Divine Dragon. But did you get injured at all? I hope not. If you need healing, though, I am fantastic at it. I will. So I actually do kind of like the costume design on these twins. Like the character designs and costuming are a little bit all over the place in general aesthetically, but I like that they do kind of have some similar style theming. Her look in general is just like adorable. Loving the hat. Your hair also has sort of like I think you've just got like a ribbon or something in there. I think we have the prime suspect for who made my hair look like this. It was you.
Thank you.
I'm so very, very happy to see you. It's like a dream. However, we had best not linger for too long. There may be more enemies lurking about. That's a fair point. Sorry, I've done a lot of lingering. It heartens me to see you and Queen Lumera reunited at last. The memory loss may have come as a surprise, but she seems elated nonetheless. Let's go. They're being impatient. Next chapter.
Let's head to the castle. Climb on my back.
Right, dragon. Sorry, I almost forgot about that part. A lot has happened to me today.
We live on the continent of Elios, 4 realms surrounding a holy land at its center.
Finally, someone brought the PowerPoint.
Firene, kingdom of abundance. Brodia, kingdom of might.
Y'all should have started with this.
Elusia, kingdom of knowledge. Solm, queendom of freedom. The land of Lethos, home of divine dragons. And Gradlon, domain of the fell dragon, fallen to ruin. 1,000 years ago, our lands endured a vicious war with the fell dragon. We called upon heroes from other worlds to aid us, heroes known as emblems. With them, the warriors of our nations fought as one. In the end, we were victorious in defeating and imprisoning the fell dragon. In the years since, our world has been safe.
I like the dragon design too. Yeah, I feel like they don't like dragons with sort of a cobra hood look. I feel like we don't see that nearly often enough. That's a great combo.
If his shadow stretches across the land again, then we must fight him anew, as we did in ages past. Fell dragon, Sombron, must be stopped.
And here we are. Narratively, this almost doesn't feel like a Fire Emblem game. This is very different from what I'm used to. Granted, I've not played any before Awakening, so this might actually be... Maybe this is a lot more similar to before times. My knowledge of like old Fire Emblem history is so lacking.
We are safe.
It's not like it's not like that. It's just bad on its own terms. Hey, thanks for the 5 months, Drelly Owl. Welcome. It's been a bit since I was here due to things not being at times that worked for me. How much did I miss? A lot and yet nothing. So you're fine.
So this is Lethos Castle. It's beautiful.
I'm glad you think so. Though you may not remember this place, I've long waited to welcome you back here. Welcome home.
I'm home?
Yes, you are. I feel overwhelmed with joy. I may cry.
Queen Lumera.
Vander. Clan. Frem. Thank you for all you've done. You are worthy stewards indeed. You and your predecessors, watching over my child all these years. I am ever so grateful.
It's kind of uncanny that the camera and animations act as if the names are being said aloud, even though they aren't. Yeah, that's such a tricky thing with... I'm kind of surprised that... Oh, hello. Why, hello, everyone. Dan, you've raided me. Hello. Welcome, everyone. Hi. Welcome to Fire Emblem Engage. We're getting a look at Fire Emblem. Just checking the animation out and whatnot. Hello, Dan. How's it going? What were you playing? Last I saw it was just chatting, but I'm assuming you were playing something before that. Just chatting the whole time? Actually, that sounds kind of nice. Well, thanks for the raid, bud. Hope you're having a good day. I hope you're all having a good day. But yeah, welcome to, and nothing else. There's a lot of suspiciousness in the, some of the replies I'm seeing here in chat, but, very curious. Anyway, but yeah, we're dipping our toe into Fire Emblem Engage just to kind of wrong play it a bit, get a look at animation, see what it's about. Like, if you want to get caught up, animation, considerably better than Three Houses. Story is... I'm still kind of reeling from it, is unimpressive so far. But, oh, thank you for the 5 months, Valbatros. Ever since Awakening, I feel like the Fire Emblem devs have been slowly turning up a big dial labeled anime nonsense and looking back at the audience for approval. Like, I can get on board with some anime nonsense, but I'd still feel like there's a bit of a stronger narrative hook from the start of a lot of the other three that I'm not feeling in this one yet, and maybe it's going to kick in. We'll see, though, right?
You are too kind.
Yeah, it's awful nice of you to say that. I'm starting to feel woozy.
Oh yeah, go us! We just got praised by Queen Lumera herself!
The happiness of this moment aside, I am troubled to see the corrupted here in Lethos.
The corrupted?
Those enemies you were fighting out on the grasslands.
Oh, I didn't like those things one bit. Just the sight of them made my blood run cold.
Understandably so. The corrupted are corpses revived by an evil power. The Fell Dragon used them as his soldiers in the war.
Anime is real. You are aware of that, little prince. Well, the king of all cosmos said it. It must be true.
Before the start of that bitter conflict, Elios had known peace for eons.
Hold on. There's a lot of chat going on that I'm... that's going by very quickly. The thing I realized after getting about halfway through is that they've stopped using VN-style visuals like flat sprites and limited animation and text boxes, but they're still storyboarded like this one, like they are, and that causes some jarring dissonance. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, they're not using the character portrait art at all anymore. I'm almost surprised I didn't even think about that. Like the 2D portrait stuff that they were still 2D portraits in Three Houses, yeah? Yeah, they were. They had the character and the character model and face and stuff like that. But then they also had the 2D portraits, which always looks really good. And like Persona does the same thing, and it's a really great way to make up for lacking 3D character animation for RPGs like these where you have these mountains of story scenes that you cannot custom animate. It's too much. And the 3D character animation in Persona is pretty dead simple and not anything super special, but having the portraits right there, like combine that physical 3D performance of the 3D character and the portrait with the really expressive face. That combination together with the voice acting gives you everything you need, and it works really well. And to their credit in this, the character expressiveness on the faces and such is getting good enough that they don't really need the portraits. I didn't even notice the portraits were gone. I think they're actually getting by without them. Kind of okay here, but it does mean that the 3D character models and their faces and performances have to carry everything now, it's putting a lot more weight on them.
But then a dark presence emerged.
I do wish that they wouldn't use... I honestly wish that they wouldn't let you name your character in this. I feel like that's kind of where the awkwardness comes in. If you can custom name your player character, whom all of these characters have to address or talk about, it means that they have to either have the voice actor just not say the character's name and have it be a weird silence, or they have to come up with a title for you. And Divine Dragon is not a good title to have to for people to have to say with their mouths all the time around your character. That's not great. Like, yeah, they do that in Persona too. To their credit, Persona makes it... I feel like Persona's writing is generally strong enough to make it work, and most other Fire Emblem's writing has been strong enough to make that work. It's feeling pretty clunky here. Yeah, Mass Effect was smart by having, like, by letting you choose your character, like, Shepard's first name, but Shepard is their last name, and that's what everyone's going to refer to you as. That's smart. That's how it goes.
Despite tireless searching, we could not determine where he'd come from. But seeing the destruction he wrought, there was no doubt of his evil intentions.
It does mean they're having to do a lot more to make the presentation of these scenes work, though. So, like, let's try to track this as we get further into this game. Like, what are the different, like, tiers of complexity that Fire Emblem tries to present story scenes with? Because there are varying approaches, right? There is, at the highest end, the most, like, robust, you'll get a full pre-rendered cutscene, which they use for the biggest moments, right? And at the simplest end, you'll have walking up to a character when you're in a free roam mode, and they just have, like, a line for you, right? So, like, that's the scale, or that's the two ends of the spectrum, rather. In between there are several, like, tiers of complexity that we've seen so far, I think. Let's see if we can kind of figure out what all of them are. This is another one of them, right? So we've got one here where we're having a conversation with characters who are all standing around, and we're kind of bouncing from line to line. I'm controlling the pace of it, so characters have to be able to settle into a looping sort of cycle at the end of every animation they're doing at the end of each line, right? And they're having to I feel like in previous Fire Emblems, this would have been a scene where the character or the camera kind of stayed at one angle constantly, and the characters would still do some little gestures, but a lot of the work would be getting done by the portraits. They don't have the portraits anymore, so now they're having to actually do, like, real basic cinematography and camera work, and they're having to move the camera around to try to make it interesting. And they're doing a good job of it. I'm mostly noting here, like, how much more presentational work they're having to give this because the portraits aren't there.
Now the corrupted are spreading once more. This may be a sign of his return.
No.
I wonder if it is mere coincidence that you awakened as all this unfolds. If the Fell Dragon has been released, then we must prepare for battle.
And this is working pretty well. Like, it's pretty flat, right? Like, characters aren't very active. They're standing in place, playing gestures and changing facial expressions. And that's kind of about it. And the camera is kind of doing a lot of the work and trying to keep it visually engaging as you go. But I think that's enough for, given that there's going to be hundreds and hundreds of scenes like this, that's kind of like what you have to do. You have to build a system that allows you to produce this quantity of story scenes. And lots of other games similar to this do this. This is basically the exact same as what Final Fantasy XIV does, like, for their many, many, many hours of, like, story cutscenes. Most of them, the vast majority.
I can't imagine fighting someone like that.
Worry not. I doubt he will attack anytime soon. This castle is filled with the spirits of divine dragons. The corrupted cannot enter it easily. Let us devise a plan.
Thank you for the zote.
When we have the opportunity.
You wonder if the camera movements are procedural? I'm guessing they're not procedural. I am guessing... I think this is all... So if I had to guess, I would say that this is all somewhat hand-done, each one of these scenes. They've probably got a system in place with a whole bunch of, like, pre-programmed moves with, like, some basic zoom-ins, zoom-outs, maybe some very slight, like, camera movement around a character. And just various camera angles that you could switch to. And they are choosing, basically they are attaching to each text box. Anytime I press forward, it triggers several new things. It triggers the new text box to come up with the text of the new line. It triggers the voice clip for that character speaking that line. It triggers the camera cut to a new camera angle, probably looking at that character, and it also probably triggers a like animation gesture on their body as well as a facial expression. So it's like a lot of things are all like firing at once as soon as I hit A, and all of those different elements are all kind of attached to each text box, right? So Sonic loves it. And I'm guessing like they've had to build out kind of a whole system in the studio while developing this to give narrative designers or cinematic designers or whatever title that they would call it over there the like all the gear they need to basically like go through and create all of these scenes and sort of direct them and choose like, okay, we're going to play this gesture on this line and we're going to have them switch to this facial expression and this camera angle feels about right for them. So basically you're just like plugging in all the, is there an emote alert argument going on right now? Oh, it's a hype train going on. Okay. I get it now.
No.
Oh, man. But yeah, so like I'm guessing that it's not... If it was procedural, it would be a sort of thing where I could see like if you played through this scene several times, maybe the system would dynamically choose different camera angles sometimes, which is probably not what they'd want. They'd want to be able to like handcraft it a little bit more and have some more control over it because the camera angles you choose and things like that can lend a lot, like can have a big impact on how the scene or the line or whatever feels. But they may have a system, some tools for creating these scenes that they can use to sort of like auto-generate, like a, basically, here's a scene I've got to do. Here are all the text boxes that need to go in. Let me hit a button that just says, is basically randomized shuffle. Like in terms of which animation plays, which camera angle it chooses, and which whatever facial expression or whatever it does. And it just auto-populates everything because then, like, you're probably not going to want to go with what it chooses, but you can then, like, adjust. You don't have to work with a blank slate then, right? Then you can just start, like, switching things out, like, don't like that camera angle or that expression. Let's change those two, but the gesture was nice. I like that. So The Witcher 3 has a system like this. And a lot of games that have conversation systems that are more modular like this do have something like that to like try to generate out a real basic version of the scene so that the designers have something to start from, and then they can go in and do a whole lot more work making it look better and making more specific choices and things like that. Sure, I'm rambling. We're not going to get very far. You're all too kind. Thank you for the hype trade. I'm going to do that hydrate and stretch reminder that was given ages ago.
Yeah!
Sitting here looking at this face for so long, the more I look, the more I can't figure out her eyelids.
No.
I wonder. I've not actually looked that close at it yet. Let's see. This is actually pretty impressive. Like that, what they've managed to do for selling a anime face design in 3D that looks and feels right. The shapes the lashes make, the what we have been here for a bit. The way it sort of works in movement. Yeah, like the weird crease doesn't unfold when she blinks. That's because like an anime face is so very stylized in a specific way that it's like how do I want to try to explain it? Like, it's definitely not about trying to imitate realism. And I think that if this was 2D animated, like that eye crease at the top of the eyelid there is there as a design element, because it lends the character a slightly more sort of like lidded, calm relaxed eye expression, which can feel like very sort of like motherly or matronly. I feel like I see a lot of mother characters given that sort of look. And it's a very nice design element, like when her eyes are open, but that does introduce a complication for when her eyes closed. Do you do something to make that crease disappear when the lids close, or do you just leave them? Ideally, you'd probably make them disappear, although maybe that would look weirder. I don't know. In motion. 3D anime is very, very hard though. Like I guarantee you, they're doing all kinds of wildness to make these faces that are in 3D still feel kind of correct, like a 2D anime face does, including like really clever stuff, like with the way things are rendering, like the bits of the lashes that you are seeing underneath the hair. They are still showing through the hair, but their shading is very slightly changed to make it still look like they are behind the hair, but you need to be able to see the rest of those lashes for the sort of graphic look of the face to still look right. Yeah. And that's the same thing they did for like Wind Waker Link back in the day with the eyebrows being rendered over his hair. It's really cool. I think like all the tricks done to make like 2D anime face design work in 3D is really cool. And I think it's like pretty incredible how far that has come in the last 10 years. We should keep the scene going, huh? I'm gonna hit auto advance just so it keeps going.
Emblem Marth.
Oh, right.
It's been quite some time, Lumera.
Ghost boyfriend, welcome back. Didn't know you were
Thank you for lending your aid against the corrupted.
just
You're welcome.
hanging out in here with
But
us.
Of course, I could help only because your child remembered me. You know, it is possible the others are awake now, just as I am.
Perhaps you are right.
Sorry, but what do you mean? Who's awake?
There is something I should show you. Follow me.
What is this place?
This is the Ring Vault. It is where the emblem rings are enshrined. Those of the Holy Knight, of the Sage Lord, and of the Azure Twins rest here, as well as the ring of the Princess Exalt, and finally, the ring of the Instructor.
Boy, they are throwing a lot of proper nouns at us
As Marth resides
this early.
in the ring of the Hero King.
So, counting Marth, there are 6 emblem rings. Wow.
In fact, there are 12. 6 here, and 6 entrusted to the other countries, as a precautionary measure.
What do you mean?
The emblems grant world-altering power to whoever has all 12 rings. For generations, the Divine Dragons used this power to ensure peace and prosperity in Elios. Indeed, that was how we locked away.
Thank you all
the
very
Fell
much for the
Dragon,
bits. You're all being
but
very
many
generous and
sought
kind.
to steal the rings
And thank you for the 4
and
months,
use them
Temporal
for
Wizard.
their own nefarious purposes.
Which is why they're scattered all over the continent, not just stored here.
Precisely. The rings offer their power but once every 1,000 years, at which time the Divine Dragon travels across Elios to collect them from each nation's ruler. With 1,000 years having passed since last time, I was planning to carry out this ritual soon. But if the Fell Dragon is after the rings, the emblems may be summoned before I arrive.
Summoned?
It is how one calls for an emblem from a ring.
It feels like we're getting a good idea of what Zod and Pichu think of the story in this game. They are sort of being like the Statler and Waldorf of this
That includes you.
of this cutscene, aren't they?
Oh, you must be talking about the phrase that popped into my head.
An invocation, you mean? What was it?
Shine on, emblem of beginnings. I wasn't even thinking about it. The words just fell from my mouth.
That was how you summoned Marth. What was your focus? Your intention when you spoke those words?
I
No.
wanted to help Clan and Fram. I didn't want to lose them. I wanted to protect them.
Your focus was on helping others. Remember that intention whenever you summon emblems. Not to keep the power
that.
for yourself.
I am really impressed by
Understand?
the eyes are looking really nice on these characters in general.
Others.
I understand.
Like that little warbling effect on the
Why don't we
highlights
try
in the
a
eyes
practice battle? You must be a little
really
rusty
helps
after
to
all
make
these
things look a little bit more lively and alive in their eyes, but in an anime-specific way. You couldn't do that for just like any character's eyes in any kind of style of game, but in anime, that's definitely a way to like make them feel a little bit more
The emblem
lively and have a little bit more movement, right?
You need to train your body and mind to unleash an emblem's full power. Vander, Clan, Frem, you will be aiding my child in this battle. Against me.
Queen Lumera, even in a practice battle, I could not turn my weapon on you.
Oh, Vander, please do put your heart into it. I know I will.
Fighting Dragon Mom already.
The corrupted! No, dear. Not at all. How could you think so? I made these opponents from plants and rocks.
I'm sorry?
Nevertheless, their abilities are the same. Drop your guard and you could be hurt.
Yeah! Really unsettling. Can we train with something else? They give me the chills.
Listen, you must push through your fear and face whatever opponent stands against you. Never run away. You are my child, the protector of all. The Divine Dragon.
I understand.
Don't worry, Divine One. We'll back you up every step of the way.
Yeah. Well, what Fram said.
As loath as I am
Yep.
to battle against
I guess that's a downside to using auto advance.
orders are yours. I pledge to bring us victory.
Thank you, everyone.
Now, let's begin.
Why do so many games nowadays have multiple tutorials? Largely because a lot of games are like have a lot of systems that they have to teach. Making tutorials is very difficult. Like you want to be able to teach the player everything they're going to need to know without boring them or without confusing them. It's hard making a good tutorial. And Fire Emblem can have quite a lot of systems and layers
Be
to it
cautious.
that it has to
Some of
convey
these
and
enemies are
like
carrying long-range weapons. Therefore,
ramp
they
up a
can
new
rain
player with.
arrows upon us from afar.
All right, each weapon has set range. A bow with a range of 2 can attack enemies 2 spaces away. Weapons with a range of 1 cannot counter distant attacks. Weapons with a range of 2 cannot counter adjacent attacks. Okay. So this one has a... Where can I see range? I think it showed me a second ago, but I already have forgotten. But they have a melee weapon. They have a ranged one. Still feel like we kind of just glossed over my Dragon Mom being able to make weird shell soldiers from sticks and rocks, but okay. Do you think the next Zelda will have a tutorial as good as Breath of the Wild? Almost certainly. Nintendo is so good at tutorials. There's like, that's like a fundamental of the, like, a fundamental craft that Nintendo rarely falters on. They make it look easy. There are a lot of things that Nintendo makes look easy that are not at all easy. And that's one of them. Come along, Ghost Ring boyfriend. Where? Oh.
Axe wielders are at a disadvantage against swords. Swords are strong against axes. Axes against lances. And then lances against swords. If you outmatch your foe, you can break their fighting stance for an advantage in combat. Try it. Strike with your sword. After their stance is broken, they'll be open to further attack.
Inflict the break status on an enemy by landing an attack with a weapon that has advantage. Broken units cannot counterattack until after the next combat. This is your chance to attack. Swords have advantage over axes, axes over... Yeah. Okay. Right. Yes. Arts have advantage over bows, tomes, and knives. Okay. As I was saying.
All right.
Get him. bad tutorials and lack of time's the reason I have yet to beat any of the Total War games. I just don't have the slightest clue what I'm doing. But also, like, man, those are hard games to tutorialize because, like, the more complicated the game, the harder it is to create a tutorial that's going to teach everything you need to know without, like, boring you or dragging or just being, like, that's a hard challenge. I'm not surprised, like, I can't imagine how you can make a tutorial that is quick and easy with games that are just that complicated. Why is Marth our ghost boyfriend? They kind of explained it, but it sort of doesn't matter. He's in our ring. We're engaged to him. But not like that, at least not as far as I know yet. Don't think about it too hard.
For the Divine Dragon.
All right, mage nerds. Show me what you can do.
Hey, Divine One. I don't know if you knew this or not, but I can use magic. I'm good from near or far, even against well-protected enemies.
Magic can attack both distant and adjacent enemies, often effective against enemies with high physical defense. I feel like you should have used some of that in that previous battle when you almost died. Mystical units ignore terrain bonuses to a foe's avoid rate when attacking with magic. Mystical units can land attacks from a distance even when an enemy should be hard to hit. Let's try some magic. From here, perhaps. Yeah, really having those portraits, like, they're not even portraits, but just having the character models off to either side in sort of portrait style during combat, this is such a nice visual addition. Just very cool. I like that a lot. Very good.
Strength of the stewards.
The Divine One looked right at me!
Can we come up with a different nickname for me, please?
I can do some mean healing with my staff. Not only that, I can take incoming hits from nearby allies. But it smarts when I do. Anyway, if you don't want to get hurt, or you need some patching up, just lean on me.
So we could arguably, like, categorize this mode of story delivery where we're kind of like, we're in a battle, but the characters can still have a conversation with little sort of talking heads that do different expressions down below. That's kind of like a different mode, right? Like a lower tier of complexity than the full sort of like modular cutscenes we were watching earlier. I guess arguably even lower than the lower complexity than the scenes where you just like walk up to a character and just chat with them. Maybe on the same tier, just a different context, because now we're in tabletop mode. That's a good term for it, as opposed to being in like in a free roam. But it is a different mode that they had to sort of like sort out the presentation style of, and that they can use. A different tool in the toolbox. Staves are items which with which your units can help allies or hinder enemies. Only certain classes like martial monks can use them. A heal staff, for example, restores an ally's hit points. Staves are useful, but they break after a certain number of uses. Don't all do not all weapons do that anymore? It used to be that all your weapons kind of like have a limited number of uses, and you had to keep on like oh, they stopped doing that. Oh, okay, that's fine. I guess that was just not super vital as a system. I don't think Fire Emblem has to have that to work. Key adept units can use Chain Guard to protect adjacent allies from attack. With Chain Guard, the ally does not take damage. Instead, the Key Adept takes damage equal to 20% of their own max HP. Chain Guard's only available if the Key Adept unit HP is full. Okay. Well, no one really needs healing or anything right now. I'll stand near you. Chain Guard. And now we attack you, I guess. Why not? I have just been through so much today. I'm just kind of rolling with whatever anyone says to do. Should I merge? I think I might wait to merge with Marth. I don't think I can really do anything from here that I'm aware of. Let's wait. You can get in there, though.
Queen Lumera, please forgive me for standing against you.
Vander, you are my child's knight. You must fill that role as best you can. Attack me with all your might.
Back to the tutorial conversation. Let's see. Honestly, I prefer tutorials that don't feel like tutorials when playing through them. Basically, games that teach you organically through playing them. Morrowind sort of does that, but I can't think of a lot of games that are 100% that way. I suppose it's easier to pull off than it sounds easier to pull off than it is, really. Oh yeah, it sounds much easier to pull off than it is. And I think for a lot of genres of game, I think there's some genres of game you just cannot do that. Like, for Mario is simple enough mechanically that you can make a level 1-1 that can basically teach players kind of what to do and how to play sort of organically. I don't think there's any way you can teach a player to play a Total War game without making them feel like they're in a tutorial. Or if you do, then it would basically be making the entire game a tutorial where you are like having a tiny number of mechanics and things and then adding another one and then adding another one and then adding another one. And then 20 hours later, you've learned how to play Total War. But as some other folks in chat have been saying, they hate it when a tutorial is not skippable. Bad news, if you made your tutorial a slow ramp on like that didn't feel like a tutorial at all, it just feels like the first 20 hours of the game. You can't skip the first 20 hours of the game, probably. These are difficult design problems. Let's see. Got to finish defeating Dragon Mom.
For the Divine Dragon.
Like you do. Child, you do it.
Queen Lumera, I don't want to attack you. Oh, I feel dizzy.
Sharpen your focus, Clan, lest you miss.
That is so for those of you who have not played Fire Emblem before, that's one element I really like. The the dating aspect of dating chess is that as characters fight in close proximity to each other, their kind of personal bond between each other grows, and the further it grows, the more those characters actually become friends, and you get scenes of those characters interacting and stuff like that. It's basically social links, except for every character in your entire army with everybody else, and it's great. That's kind of what made me fall in love with Fire Emblem Awakening to begin with, and it's awesome. It is a core feature. You're still hanging in there, aren't you? Good for you, I guess. Other child.
Dragon.
Chain guard, I suppose.
There is no need to hold back, my child.
All right.
I've got you.
I'm so sorry. Fantastic work. You fought together splendidly. Let's move on. Wait over there a moment.
Okay.
All right. If everyone is in position, we'll begin.
Didn't we already?
I will be more hands-on. I intend to fight as if in an actual battle.
Oh.
Furthermore, I'll be using this.
Is that the ring of the Holy Knight?
You're remarrying?
I'm inviting an old friend to join us.
He seems young. So, young man, what are your intentions with my mother?
Requires strength and swiftness. I am all too happy to oblige.
Your voice is familiar too. Who are you?
He looks like a strong opponent.
Each emblem has their own abilities. When allied with them, you can call upon their unique powers and skills.
Whatever Sigurd's power is, it won't be the same as Marth's. We better keep our eyes open.
My rapier is effective against cavalry, like those enemies over there.
Okay.
Once we engage, you can use my weapon. Try it against that foe.
Okay, sometimes an emblem's energy lingers in a space. If a synced unit finishes their action or waits on a space containing emblem energy, their engage meter will fill completely. I feel like I kind of feel for them here because this emblem thing is the whole new gimmick for this particular Fire Emblem. It's the whole, like, one of the big selling points, arguably, right? Here's a system that allows you to play with old, like, beloved Fire Emblem characters. Or, for those of you who don't know Fire Emblem, all those other sword people who keep showing up in Smash you've been hearing about. So, you want to show that off early, right? You don't want to wait until, like, 10 hours or 5 hours or 4 hours into the video game before that even starts coming into play. But that does unfortunately mean that, like, for all the players who are coming in new, you can't... Fire Emblem is not super complex as a tactical RPG, but it does have a lot of, like, basics of movement and combat and stuff that can take a little bit of time to familiarize yourself with, and controls and things like that. So, the unfortunate thing is, like, this emblem system has a good bit of added complexity to it and fiddliness. And it's a lot it unfortunately means that there's kind of a lot for the new player to absorb all at once here. If I had not played a previous Fire Emblem game, I would be feeling really out of my depth. Or at least a little bit lost. Like, I need more chances to play with this before they try to explain something new. Like danger radius, for example. When you place the cursor on an enemy, you will see the radius that foe can reach. You can press A to keep that radius displayed. You can press ZL to see the danger radius of all your enemies at once. Danger radius is a fun pair of words. I approve. That's kind of the thing with all of these. Hey, nice. A bond effect. Ooh, grants avoid +10 at a cost of -10 crit when using a sword. Sure. Like, all Fire Emblems have some complexity to them, especially the deeper in you get. It's just that, unfortunately, the engage aspect, like the engage system in this one being the big selling point, means they're trying to kind of show it off early, but it's also apparently where a lot of the complexity is, and so they're really dropping a lot of it very fast. Allies who fight alongside emblems gain bond experience, increasing their bond level. As their bond levels increase, units gain stats and access to new effects. Now, you charge further here. You tank here for a little bit. And you... Hang on. You... probably shouldn't move right here. You shouldn't move in melee range. That's silly. Don't do that. You stand back here. Fireball that one.
Did you see that?
Become better friends. And now you make sure our horse riding friend here does not get beat up too bad. Thank you. Didn't work like I hoped. You're okay. That could have gone slightly better, but also slightly worse. Fire lad, you go here. Shoot the arrow one, please. Who can probably counter, but you're fine.
strength of the stewards.
And I'll come over here, finish this one off. And then we'll go fight Mom and her new boyfriend.
Victory was mine.
Oh, they're other cavalry, aren't they? Let's see the danger radius. Okay, so they can come that far. Does that mean they can move that far, or they can move and then attack that far? I want to say, you know what? Let's just wait here and let them come to us, if they will.
Yeah, no problem.
Or they won't. They'll wait for us to come one closer. Okay. Then I will go up here. And we'll go side by side, so we're kind of backing each other up. I assume that's still a thing.
I can keep going.
Everyone stack up.
Your teamwork is inspiring. Now it's time for us to make our move. Come, Sigurd.
Oh, wow, you can move, huh? Ow.
That was incredible.
Lord Sigurd is remarkably swift. Perhaps we should be grateful this is a mock battle.
Yeah, we should probably put a stop to that as quick as possible, huh? Me and my ring ghost boyfriend are stronger than you and your ring ghost boyfriend, and I'm about to prove it. Wait, don't do a regular attack. Do like... Yes, the fancy one.
This is certainly more of a challenge.
Your enemies will not hold back, and neither will I. That is why you must defeat me. What a delight it is to see you in battle after all these years.
It's a wild first impression, well, second first impression I'm getting of you, Mom. As an amnesiac who just woke up today and has dealt with a lot.
So sorry. You've won. I'm proud to see you working together so well.
We wins. I feel like, from what I've seen so far, I'm still kind of in the mindset of like sort of best of year animation a little bit, just because I just finally finished making that video. Which, if y'all haven't seen, again, the on New Frame Plus, new video out today. Best game animation of 2022 is out now. It's like a half hour long because there was a lot.
You bested Sigurd and me. That's quite the feat. There is much to improve upon, but
I hope you
this is a
enjoy.
wonderful start. Great work.
Thank you.
Looking at this here, I feel like this is definitely an improvement over Three Houses, no question. I don't know if I would rate this highly enough that I would include this in next year's video, though.
I'd like for you to have this.
But it is an improvement.
This is the sword you were using, isn't it?
Yes.
I could see like adding a mention, especially for some of the big fancier engage attacks that they do together. Because that's definitely where they're doing some of the bigger spectacle stuff. Like the same stuff that, like big, huge spectacle finishers in the Demon Slayer game or the most recent Tales game, stuff like that. Like, the animation in the games at large may be kind of like so-so, but clearly they've put a lot of effort into making those big, huge attack climax moments shine.
was it?
So it seems like maybe
I
worth
said
giving
I'd
some of
give
those
you
a mention.
birthday present
I'll have to look at more of
that
them.
Suited you perfectly. I was working on it in private, but
Why no mention of Pentiment in the animation from last year? Largely because I think
That
the,
birthday has
like,
long
Pentiment is a really cool looking game, but it is largely a triumph of art design rather than animation.
now.
I'm sorry.
The animation is,
can't
like, the
accept.
animation serves that art design and it does perfectly
That ring
fine,
fulfills a promise you
but
made
most
me,
of what's
right?
cool about that game is not
But I don't
necessarily,
remember
like, the
that
animation of
promise.
it. It is just the
It'd
cool
feel
look.
wrong accepting it. Like
It's a
I
very
was
cool look,
taking a
though.
present meant for someone else. Please offer me this gift again once I've remembered everything.
Everything, you say? Did facing me in battle stir any recollections?
It didn't. I'm sorry.
You need not apologize. It doesn't matter what you can remember right now. I only hope that one day you will think of me as your mother, as you did 1,000 years ago. Forgive me. I was so thrilled to spend time with you again. I suppose I got a little carried away, didn't I?
Maybe a little.
No, it's all right.
I don't mean to put you on the spot. Perhaps we should call it a day, hmm? But let's agree to chat again in the morning. What do you say? Pinky promise?
All right.
Very cute little pixel sprites down there. Love those. Ah, we can free roam again with our wild hair. This is... I bet the... All right, here. Tell you what, in the interests of wrong playing, we're going to stop playing this kind of entirely. Hold on. Hello, cat. You're pretty cute. Aw, what a good little void. Look at you. Can't really interact with you, but glad you're here. I'm very curious to see... Oh, more cats. Well, this is a good place. Cats just hanging out. I'm interested to see what happens if we quit out, start new game. I want to see what the main, like the mask main character version looks like. If we're not having to deal with that much hair. Because this seems a lot more manageable, doesn't it? Still a mean prank that the twins pulled on us while we were asleep, but like in a much easier to animate way. Fun fact about the hair, once you get access to the workout minigame, you can see a version of her with a ponytail and it looks so much better. That's nice. I appreciate that, actually. I was kind of hoping, like, there's got to be at least some, hopefully, like, some character customization where you can, like, alter the hair style, right? Because, like, having it, yeah, like, up in a ponytail or something like that, I could see that actually looking a lot better and being a lot easier to animate. See, if I was, like, an animation lead on that team or something, I would really be begging the artists and, like, art team and stuff like that, can we please make the default style the hair up thing, because we can't make this work. We just can't. It's not, it's like, we want to. It's not for lack of desire. Like the cape, yeah, the cape is still an issue. And that is in part either like it's just a regrettable choice, or it's a case of them having to just like go for something really simple, just on account of like, this is not complex hardware. We need to do something. We can't do really like robust cloth simulation or anything approaching it. It seems like you got to be able to. It seems like there's got to be a better answer for that. You know what? We'll see it in a minute.
The others fought hard.
Sorry, we're speed running now.
Yo.
Speed running to when I can walk. So are we just starting over, or are we going back to the fem game later? I'm thinking we're just gonna like get to a point where I can see the character running around, and then we may go ahead and call it. Uh,
I'll do my best.
I've been having a very tiring week or so. But it's been like 2 weeks since I streamed, though. Largely because I've been trying to get that darn New Frame Plus video done. Hey, thanks for the 4 months, Walu.
You have no hope of...
Speed run. Cloth Simulations is surprisingly performant to run, provided you don't overdo it. Yeah, it is kind of down to execution, right? Like, and it can be simple, and you can do things that are like, here's a little bit of sim with some authored movement on top of it, or just a combination of sim and authored stuff to really get a good look from it. I'm trying to think of a game that like really nailed that in cool looking ways recently. Hard coming up with something off the top of my head.
To die here was...
Horizon has neat cloth sim? Oh boy, I bet. I still a lot of... I want to see the rest of Horizon.
It's time.
Engage.
I'll never yield.
There we go.
The time has come.
Yeah, a lot of Horizon Sim stuff looks quite good. Like, I feel like the one thing that I wish they could have managed to pull off just slightly better is Aloy's hair. Aloy's hair in the original, but also in the sequel, looks a little bit still kind of wild in its motion. Not terrible, just like a bit much, I think. But boy, what a pretty looking game.
You have nothing to celebrate.
Speed run. It has high, Aloy's hair has a high springiness, like it doesn't weigh quite enough. I think that, yeah, I think that's the kind of effect that I'm feeling as well.
Calm down,
Like it should feel heavier than it is, because it's a lot of hair.
Ruckus about.
I appreciate a lot of this being skippable, though. Good on them.
Vander!
All right. Speed run, speed run.
What are these
All right.
I'm impressed. Yeah, like at how fast and smoothly this is kind of allowing you to just like zoom through things. I can even just hit like the start button to instant close tutorial pop-ups. Some nice little quality of life touches that they've went to the trouble to add in here. Did I have to play all the games in the best animation video to collect footage, or were you able to use trailers and official marketing material? So I did play some of all of the games that are in that video, but for those videos, I do take advantage of a lot of trailers to make the workload more feasible and make it so that the video doesn't come out in March or April. Because, like, the time spent just gathering a wide variety of footage. I want to be able to use footage from more than just the first hour or two of a lot of these games where possible. And also, like, sorting through hours and hours and hours of footage from every game to find good bits takes so much time that if you're just using some trailers, the trailer editor's already found a lot of good footage for you to use right there. It makes it go a lot faster, especially when you're making a kind of long annual roundup like this last one was, like a half hour.
These enemies are formidable.
A lot of games worth talking about. Attack.
Dream well.
best animations of 2022 published in January 2024. Yeah, so that's what I want to avoid happening. Last year it slipped all the way to February, and I really was not pleased with that. So I was really determined to, like, I know I'm not gonna get these best game animation videos done before the following year starts, before the new year, but I really don't want to let it slip a whole month.
I gotta protect Fram.
Finish him. It was sort of in jest saying that, yes, I played all of the games in 2022, but because no, I didn't play every single one. But I did. I do feel like I glimpsed. It's like certainly not all of them. There's certainly some I missed, but boy, I looked into hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Making time to play all of them, not really, like, feasible. But, like, I'll do an initial pass skimming through, like, sort of, okay, let's check trailers for all these. Do these look... And then I'll, like, start keeping down a huge list of, like, all right, based on what I'm seeing in the trailer, how many of these look like they merit further investigation, which will end up being a lot of games still. And then I'll play a ways into a number of them, and then try to narrow down further which of these should be on the list.
You must remember.
I, too, am glad I found a little Gator game. I found that one pretty early. I saw that one start popping up on Twitter early last year or late the year before, and instantly knew this is going to be a game for me. I didn't realize how much of a game for me it was going to be, but because, boy, it is a game for me. But I love it.
With your help, Marth.
This is some good cheesy music.
Emblem Engage.
But yeah, there have been past years where I have... Actually, no, let's use the fancy sword. There have been past years where I have finally finished making the the roundup video for the end of the year, and then, to my great dismay, I will see footage of some other game that came out in that year that I hadn't noticed yet before that looks great. Like a later alligator incident. Which I didn't see until a year after. And ever since then, I've basically been like, all right, I have to really dive in and make sure I'm seeing as many games as possible. And so far, no one in comments or anyone else has brought up a game arguing that it should have been in the video that I was not aware of. Like, I think people can reasonably argue that a game should be in a video, or deserves the praise that didn't end up in the video. That's fine and somewhat subjective, but so long as I was aware of its existence, that's what matters to me. As long as I made an intentional choice of whether or not it should be in there. Good enough for me. If anything, I think I need to start being more picky about which games I include, because it did get to about a half hour long this time. But that's also just partly a consequence of, if you look at hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of games, you're going to find quite a few worth praising. Almost there.
Divine.
Getting there. I'm glad Potionomics made the list.
Really you?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
As soon as I saw
it's me.
Potionomics, I was like, oh yeah, this one. There's some games you see them and you instantly know that one is going to be in the video for sure. And Potionomics was one of those. Hey, we made it. All right. So we no longer have the hair concern. We just have short hair, nice and easy. Does it still have some motion to it? A little bit, very subtle. So subtle that it's kind of hard to like tell how much of it is motion and how much of it is just like aliasing as the character idles. But I'm seeing a slight bit of wavering there on the hair, which is nice. But what of the cape? Yeah, I'm not loving that. I am not loving that cape. Not great. And it also sticks out that badly if you're just walking. That's not what you want. It's a very floaty cape. I don't know what this is made of. Hold L to walk. Yep. Cape still. Cape still out there. Yeah, not great. So like why I do wonder why they would have it billow that far. They don't need to. Like they don't. It doesn't have to be that far back to be clear of the legs. Not even close. I wonder why. They're even doing some I feel like they're doing some. No, they're not. They're just letting the kind of elbows and arm clip through the cape a bit, which is fine. It's not that noticeable. Slightly noticeable enough that I feel like maybe they should have gone to the effort to make that not visible on the main character running, which is something you're going to see the back of a lot, but not the worst in the world. But why have the bottom of the cape splay out that much? Is there like some other weapon or something you could equip behind you that... Like, I can only imagine that there is something else that you could be having the character wear or do, or something that would make their legs go way more behind them, or just make it to where that they had to lift the cape up that high to ensure it didn't clash with something. But I can't fathom. Like, maybe horse riding, but then maybe then the cape should do something different when you're walking versus horse riding then. What an odd choice. And if you're dashing, like, okay, here. This is still a bit much. It's still like a bit... It still feels like weirdly table-y and flat behind you. Like, that's kind of the problem, right? If the cape is light enough that it is going to billow behind you this much when you're running straight forward, then it shouldn't keep on being stiff as a board, like, well, okay, hang on. I'm actually impressed with how much that sort of like overlaps behind you when you turn. That actually looks pretty cool. I'm impressed. Like, it's a thing that looks kind of cool to this specific angle when you do it that way. That looks pretty cool. It doesn't look that great from here because it's still kind of like flat out behind you. But I am actually impressed that it sort of curves around you that much when you turn sharply. That's pretty cool. But yeah, that's rough. And much worse with the femme version of the character's long hair behind you as you run. Here, we can load that up again real fast for those of you who missed it before, because that's a sight. Have I seen Forspoken? I haven't had a chance to like actually play it or dive into it yet. Only just seen the same trailers everyone else has. Let's see, load up. There we go. I know, like, a lot of people have been mocking much of the dialogue in Forspoken, and for fair reason, I think. But I think part of what makes a lot of that dialogue, I think part of the problem there is actually also animation, because the face animation on the character is not great. And because the character is saying these like lines with a sort of some exaggerated like physical performance, but not enough their facial performance, it just makes the lines feel even more awkward. But yeah, I've not seen nearly enough of Forspoken to really assess the animation in it yet, so I need to give that a little bit of time. But yeah, this, as I said a lot of this earlier, but this is a hair design that looked great on paper, I'm sure, but as an animator, is like looking at this is very scary. Because this seems like something that's going to be difficult to make work in motion. And again, boy, points to how cool the sort of like undulating movement of the hair looks when running, just sort of like flat from this angle. If you don't see it from any other angle, this actually looks pretty cool. Like a cool way for this hair to move. I actually do like how the hair flares out more when it's not in motion and kind of tightens up a bit more when it is in motion. It does feel more like it's being impacted by sort of a like the wind and all that and tightening up, and that's pretty cool. That I like. The problem is that it is still layered over the cape, and because it has to be, and so from the side, that is still not great. That's a good question. Why does her outfit have a cape? I guess, yeah, I would argue like it's clearly a different look of costuming than the mask version of the character had, so they don't need to have the cape. But if like folks in chat were saying that you can later change the character's hairstyle, in which case, like if you could have a ponytail here, then the cape would be a lot more visible. So you do still probably want to have the cape be a part of the character's design. Weirdly, even though like the long hair, I'm actually kind of torn, but whether I like it better with the super long hair or the short hair, because the cape looks pretty bad by itself. But with the long hair, even though it's really weirdly flat out behind and lightweight, at least you get this cool visual like motion on the hair that is kind of cool and visually interesting, that and sort of distracting in a way. How does it look when you're like, okay, so like it doesn't look quite as cool as like whipping around you as it does when it's just the cape by itself. The hair doesn't quite pull that off. Still though. All right, I'm going to stop beating up on the hair in this and go ahead and call it. That was interesting, though. Thank you all for joining me for this silly little wrong play of Fire Emblem, where we didn't really get anywhere, but it was fun to look at, though. I had fun. Anyway. I hope some of you did too, at least. Didn't want this to drag on. Boo, and also applause. And thank you all for joining me. Yeah, again, for those of you who have not seen, I've mentioned it a couple times now, but yes, the new Frame Plus video is up today, highlighting the best game animation of 2022. Quite proud of the video. I hope that you enjoy it. Go check it out. And check out some of those games too. There's a lot of cool game animation from last year. Sorry, checking chat now. Let's see. Oh, Ashton has just linked the video in chat here if y'all want to go check it out. Thanks, Ashton. Good thinking. I just want to miss somebody's question further up here. I think I'm just imagining it. Anyway, thank you all so much for joining. Thank you everybody who has subscribed or resubscribed or threw in some bits to have the characters yell at each other for a bit, which is always funny. Will there be more Fire Emblem streams? Probably not with this one, especially given how, like, kind of unappealing I am finding the narrative aspect of this, which, like, the narrative aspect is what really hooks me in Fire Emblem games. I like the, like, tactical RPG combat and the social link stuff a lot, but the narrative aspect is a big part of what makes that all tie together, and that's feeling so, like, blah for me in this one that I'm not feeling super, like, excited at the thought of playing more of it. I could see doing a different Fire Emblem game for later on, though. I was kind of torn between whether, like, to play Final Fantasy V today further, or because we do need to get back to that, or to do some other stuff, but on a whim I decided, you know what, we haven't done a new game in a bit, and this just came out recently, let's try it. It's fun doing new games now and then. We don't get to do that on Playframe super often. Who's still on? Let's see. Ooh, Jordan is on. I don't think we've ever rated Jordan. Jordan's playing Elden Ring. And Jordan's rated me before. This seems like a good common courtesy to do. So Jordan, for those of you who are not familiar, is someone who is involved with Desert Bus a good deal. Jordan is still involved with Desert Bus. Yeah, Carrie? Yeah, okay, all right. Because I've not been as involved lately, so I wanted to confirm and make sure. But it looks like Jordan is playing some Elden Ring right now. So I'm going to send y'all over that away. Thank you all again so much for joining. I don't know if there will be a stream on Sunday because again, I am worn out. It has been a week. But yes, there will definitely be a stream next week though. So all of you take care. Say hi to Jordan for me. Enjoy the Elden Rings. Enjoy the New Frame Plus video. And yeah, we'll see y'all next time. Y'all are lovely. All right, goodbye, everyone.